Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Dosatron 2025 webinar. I think we're going to wait a few minutes because we see some people already connected. We just wait for the others to be online too. So I will quickly introduce myself for the one who do not know me. So my name is Xavier Chéry. I'm the Animal Health Market Manager for Dosatron for now more than 30 years. And if you are interested in this webinar, but you cannot attend all the session, we will give you a link, a special link to get the video because it's going to be recorded. Okay, let's wait a few minutes. If you want, you can grab a coffee or say a hello in the chat. Tell us where you come from. It's always pleasant to know who is attending. Okay, let's wait a little bit. So it should be, it's 11 already. So my colleague Agathe is next to me, helping me for this online webinar. And we should start very soon. Hello, Maria. I see some hello from Poland. Okay. So now we will start this session. I will share my presentation screen. I think it's time now to start the webinar. We've been waiting a few minutes to be sure everybody can be connected. If you can't or you're late, you will have a special access to the recording of this webinar. So today we will talk about two different topics which are complementary. The first one is the PigLink project from the French Pig Institute IFIP. This project is to optimize all the data coming from devices and software in a pig farm. And the PigLink project is sponsored by the European Data for Food Initiative in Europe, involving 12 countries up to now. The second part of this webinar is about the SmartDosing technology with the SmartLink software. So it's to monitor, record, secure all the vaccination, medication, and any other treatments through the drinking water of the pigs. So these two parts are complementary. The SmartDosing technology is it's a brick of the PigLink European project. Let's start with the PigLink project from the French Pig Institute IFIP. This project is part of a bigger European project called Data for Food. This project, Data for Food, already involves 12 countries. And the objective of PigLink is the interoperability of all the data from the connected device and software in the pig farms. We can start with the current data situation on pig farm. Nowadays, many data on pigs are collected either manually or automatically. Some data are for the animal performance, such as weight, feed consumption, mortality, reproduction. Some other data are about the veterinary treatments, sanitary aspects, vaccine, etc. So data such as treatment, reason and type, administration route, which can be via drinking water, injection or feed, posology, the duration or the withdrawal period of the antibiotics, and of course the identification of the treated animal, collective or individual. Now let's talk about the present device situation on pig farms. There is a good point, which is many technological evolution with numerous connected devices and collected data, which is good to get new opportunities for valorization. New connected equipment such as syringes, dosing pump, feeders, scales, etc. But on the other hand, this leads also to some complications. So the breeder and the other players, stakeholder, have now to manage several device software, dashboards, databases, and clouds. Furthermore, some data have to be entered several times by the breeders or the technicians. And there is a current lack of data standards, which limits many comparative performance analysis. So as a conclusion regarding the current breeder situation on pig farm, we can say that they were yesterday overloaded by paperwork, but now everything is turning into a digital saturation with non-valued data. So there is nowadays an accumulation of databases, applications, software, screen and communication tools, several equipment controllers in the barn, PC, phones, and tablets. If we take into account the current situation of pig breeders we have seen before, we understand why when we talk to breeders, technicians, but also to the pig groups, everybody would be happy to get a centralized system and stop using tons of tools, software, database, data in silo which are not fully optimized. That's why the objective of PigLink is really to enable the data interoperability in the farm. And this will be done by providing an open normative framework so that all data are useful to breeders and partners. So at the end, this will create or facilitate a data flow between the connected equipment, scales, feeders, water meters, syringes, dosing pumps, RFID ear tags, as you can see on the picture to the right, but also data flow between livestock management tools, such as a technical economic analysis software. And all this will be possible by offering a free standardized interface based on web API. So the PigLink will be a kind of data hub which will enable the exchange of any collected data on the farm, as long as it follows the PigLink standards, of course. Let's conclude now with the benefits of the PigLink solution. These benefits are not only for the breeders and the technician, but also for the breeders' partners, such as the veterinary or the pig group members. The benefits of PigLink starts with an easier data collection, of course. No more double entries or triple entries of the data, because some of the entries are automated. For example, you can automatically import the body weight from a connected scale, or the treatment information or vaccine from the dosing pump after administration. With PigLink, it will also be possible to use all available data in dashboards and summaries for comparative analysis. It will be possible to use new or enriched breeding indicator for animal health and welfare, or economic and technical performances. The PigLink is an open project which will be compatible to all compliant connected devices and software. And if we talk about the data itself, the data sharing is secured and supervised by the pig breeder via the PigLink interface configuration. Furthermore, with the breeder approval, of course, manufacturers may also choose or not to share useful data from their device and software. Now it's time to start the second part of this webinar. So we have seen just before the global PigLink project. Now we will see one part of this project, one technological brick, which is the SmartDosing technology with the SmartLink software. This kind of technological brick, this kind of information coming from the treatment through the drinking water are very important, such as the injectors, information and other connected equipment, if we want to have a full analysis and understanding of the animal performances, health, mortality, feed conversion ratio. If we miss some of this information, we don't know what was given in the water, injectables, or in the feed, we have a gap in the system. We have a blind spot. So the SmartDosing, as you can see on the picture, is a last generation Dosatron dosing pump. You can see here in the center. Down the pump, you have this black box, which is a monitoring unit with a microprocessor and sensors. And to the left of the dosing pump, you have the high precision water meter. So this SmartDosing can be connected to the barn PC with the SmartLink software for the live monitoring and recording of all the treatments through the drinking water. But you have another possibility, which is the connection to the barn controllers, such as the Maximus barn controller you can see to the right of the picture. So the main benefits of this SmartDosing technology are, first of all, the security. So you will secure all the medicine, vaccine, and many other additives which are administered through the drinking water. The SmartDosing will help you to optimize all the treatments. I mean, you will respect the right duration of a medication or a 6-hour vaccination, for example. You will respect the right dose and the good practices, because the software is like a tutorial helping you to respect step by step these good practices. The SmartDosing is also a tool for full traceability, as you can monitor every minute all the treatment given to the animal. And at the end, you will have the full report of the treatment's information and administration conditions. And the SmartDosing is also very useful for time saving, to save some labor. From the beginning, when you need to calculate the stock solution of medicine or vaccine, because it includes a medication or vaccination calculator, up to the reporting at the end. You don't need the paperwork with all the mandatory reporting you had to do for vaccine or antibiotics. The SmartDosing is an interesting technical evolution, just like other devices, such as the new connected smart injectors for injectable vaccine or antibiotics. And it is especially very interesting in the current context. I mean that nowadays you have new high-value vaccines which are administered via the drinking water for the pig sector, just like we do in the poultry sector for decades. Some vaccines such as ileitis, E. coli, Salmonella, or erysipelas vaccine, depending the country where you live. Another good reason of this traceability and connected device is the end of prophylactic antibiotic treatments in Europe in favor of curative or metaphylactic treatment. I mean that the preventive medication, usually via the feed, is now disappearing or banned in some areas, and not only in Europe. It's mainly administered by injection when possible or via the drinking water. And this SmartDosing pump or smart injector are also a necessary development for a centralized smart farming approach for connected devices. That's why, as an introduction, we have seen this type of centralized project called PigLink to make all this data interoperable. Let's see now the SmartDosing installation conditions. So as you can see on the picture, the SmartDosing is installed exactly like a standard Dosatron dosing pump. I mean, it's on a bypass system with different valves for water only or water and medicine or vaccine. The SmartDosing can dose, as usual, vaccines, antibiotics, wormers, painkillers, anti-inflammatory, organic acids, zootechnical additives such as probiotic, prebiotics, vitamins, minerals. And it's also used to record the pipe sanitation when you do the cleaning of the piping after depopulation. Let's have a close look now to the main functionality of this SmartDosing. So here you see the zoom on the monitoring unit here with the main menu. And every day the breeder or the technician use only the rec here, rec functionality to record. So this monitoring unit is designed with an embedded software, sensor in the unit, sensor in the pump too. You have the suction pipe as usual for the medicine or the vaccine injection, and you have a second pipe with a sensor to detect the level in the tank. So if there is any injection problem, you detect it, and if the tank gonna be finished, you have a warning to come back in time. This monitoring unit is connected to the barn PC. So the only thing the breeder or technician has to do is, after selecting the recording menu, is to select the type of treatment you want to do. So vaccination, medication, acidification, or there is all the other feed additives, probiotic, vitamin, minerals, and so on. We record also the rinsing between two treatments. It's very important. The sanitation to disinfect and remove the biofilm in the pipe after depopulation in the barn. And even the test when you want to test the exact water consumption over, for example, 6 hours. If you want to prepare an ileitis vaccination, then you will come back the next day and you know the exact volume water intake for the pigs over 6 hours, so you know the exact volume of solution of vaccine to prepare. So once you have selected the type, you find the list and the name of all the commercial treatment which were set during the configuration of the SmartDosing. So you select for example, the medication you want to administer through the water. Then the software asks you to select which room you're going to treat. It's very important for the multi-piping, multi-room barns, like post-weaning barns. So if you have a multi-piping, you can medicate only room number 1, number 2, or you give a name to the room. And you have to indicate which group of animal going to be treated. And then you start the recording. There is only one specific functionality for the vaccination, because when you vaccinate ileitis, for example, you need to prime all the drinking systems. So the technician prime every drinker until he sees the blue dye. And we will monitor this priming volume. It's a new security. We will talk about it later on. You will see it. Then other interesting things on this monitoring box and on the computer too is the alarm and warning. So to the left you got a warning, so you can know exactly when the tank going to be finished, for example 5 centimeters before the end, and then you come back in time to renew, for example, a medication, which up to now is impossible because everything is visual and manual. Another important alarm is the no water consumption. So it's very important too. So for example, is accidentally the water valve is closed, then you have an alarm and can come back very quickly in time and save, for example, the medicine or the vaccine, which is very important. Up to now, it was not possible. Like the end of the tank was not possible to know exactly when it's going to be finished. So if you come too early, it's not good, and you come too late, it's not good because you let the animal a few hours without treatment. Another important alarm is the motor of the pump is stopped, so some water are going through, but with no treatment injected. In this case, we even calculate the volume of water without treatment. If this volume is too big, maybe the pump needs a maintenance, so you do a test here to the right. You see, we have a test tube. It's a diagnostic of the pump. Some association like Red Tractor in England, Canadian associations, the DIN standard in Germany, they would like the pump to be tested or calibrated in the farm. Then we finish with the last interesting data. It's the history of all the treatments here, the latest 15 treatments. So you have the timing, the duration, the volume, the dosing of the pump. So it's very interesting when you renew some treatment because you know what was injected before. And you have the history of the pump itself with the maintenance, alarm, and diagnostic. Let's see now the SmartLink software. So as you can see to the left of this picture, the SmartLink software is installed on the barn PC in the pig farm. You see first on the picture the dashboard. So you have a main dashboard with all information about the dosing pump since the installation. You have also maintenance warning and other interesting information. Down the dashboard, you see two agendas, one orange and one blue. The blue agenda is for the dosing pump itself, with the warnings, the alarms, the preventive maintenance information. And the orange dashboard is for the treatment or recordings, whatever it is. It can be a vaccination, medication, rinsing of the pipe, sanitation, even the water consumption test we can run with the pump to be more precise when you prepare a stock solution for medicine or vaccine. Then you can follow up the live recording. So when you start the recording on the pump itself, you select, for example, medication, and you record. The computer automatically open the medication file. You can see to the right down the corner, and you start seeing the live consumption of water plus medicine. This is a curve you see down, which is refreshed every 2 minutes. And you can see alarms, any interesting information. You secure and follow up your treatment. And in the upper part, above the recorded information, such as timing, volume, dosing rate, etc., you fill up the mandatory information for the medication or vaccination reports, which is the body weight, the posology of the medicine, the number of doses of vaccine, or all what you need to record, in fact. Now let's have a close look to the SmartLink software, and in particular to this orange agenda here down to the right, where you can find all the treatment and vaccination recording. And after, we will quickly see the medication software for water medication. So when you go into this agenda, you can see that this breeder has been running an acidification for 4 days. And if I open this acidification recording, I immediately see the curves of the water plus acid intake of the pigs during the 4 days. These curves is every 60 minutes, but you can be much more precise and go down to 2 minutes, every 2 minutes. So then you see much more data with the real consumption peak and low consumption time. Then you can also see an alarm here at the beginning. So maybe the no water supply alarm is coming from the water valve who stayed closed. Then the technician, thanks to the SmartDosing alarm, can come back immediately and solve the problem, which was not possible up to now. Then you can save the acid, but in other cases you can save the vaccine or the antibiotics, so it's very important. Apart from these consumption curves, you have the upper part of the file. So first, it's the treated animal, so you have the batch number, you have the body weight, you enter here. You have the number, the name of the room in which are treated. You remember that when we record on the SmartDosing, we have to select which room we are treating, medicating, acidifying. Then you enter the number of animals treated. Second part is the treatment itself. So in this case, it's an organic acid. The reason of treatment, E. coli prevention, and you confirm the recommended dose of this acid, 1 milliliter per liter of drinking water. And then the last part is here, the recorded part information from the SmartDosing itself. So you have the starting date and time, the ending here, and the total duration to the right, 3 days and 18 hours of acidification. You have under the total volume of water during this treatment, the total volume of injected solution of water plus acid, and the dosing rate on the Dosatron, which is given by the sensor on the pump itself. The reason of the ending, which is a manual stop from the breeder, and you even have the air temperature. So you have the curves, you have the alarms, and you can add some comments for yourself, for the technicians, for your vets. This file is completed, then you can share it through CSV or PDF file with your vet, with a member of your pig group if necessary. You can print it, of course.
Now we see this breeder has been doing 5 days of medication because the medication has to be renewed every 24 hours max. So I open the day 1, I see the curve like before, and the only difference with other treatments is the treatment itself. In this case, you see, we ask the name as usual, which is an amoxicillin. The reason of treatment, in this case, it's Streptococcus suis. Then we have the specific dose for antibiotics, which is posology, or milligram per kilogram. In this case, it's 12 milligram per kilogram of live weight. Then you have the total duration of this amoxicillin treatment. It's for 5 days. And the waiting time, which is a withdrawal period before the slaughter, which is 5 days. For the rest of the file, it's the same information. Then let's finish with the vaccination example. In this case, maybe it's an ileitis vaccination. So same than before. The only difference is the treatment information. So the name in this case, it's a vaccine. It's ileitis vaccine. So you put the commercial name, of course. The number of doses you have been diluting into the tank of the dosing pump, 1,100 here. And the priming volume, it's an interesting information because we measure with the SmartDosing the volume in the pipe to the room you are vaccinating. So if this volume next time is lower, we know that maybe the technician forgot to prime some of the drinkers. And these piglets particularly will not be vaccinated. This kind of security doesn't exist nowadays. Thanks to the SmartDosing, you can secure the vaccine this way too. And if this volume is bigger than usual, then maybe you have a leak, which is another problem. Okay, for the rest it's the same. You can share the file and so on. Let's finish with a very interesting tool, which is in the menu here down, called the Pig Medication Calculator. It's to calculate the stock solution, how much water and how much medicine do I need to prepare every day for the 5-day medication, for example. So you start with the water consumption of the pigs for 1 day or less. That's why having the water monitoring in the farm is very interesting with connected water meter per barn, but like more and more breeders, per room. Then once entering the water consumption, you select the dosing of Dosatron. Maybe you set it up to 5%. Then how many pigs will be medicated? So if it's one room, maybe it's 200 piglets. And the body weight of the piglets may be, I don't know, 25 kilo. Okay. Then once you have that, you just finish with the antibiotic information. So you put here, better put the commercial name to remember of the amoxicillin you're going to use. The posology of the active ingredient of this amoxicillin, so maybe 20 milligram per kilogram of body weight, and the concentration of this commercial medicine, 50% here. Usually it's written on the package. And now it's finished. You have all the results. You know down here to the left, you need to prepare 50 liters for this first day of medication, together here with 200 grams of this commercial medicine. And we even give you the concentration of the stock solution itself here. It's 4 grams per liter to double check if it's not over the maximum solubility of this medicine. Let's see now why smart dosing technology, smart farming or project like PigLink can help breeders to avoid the consequences and the cost of medication and vaccination failure. So on this slide, we will see some of the potential causes of such failure. So the first one is a bad treatment and vaccination timing and duration. So of course, if you do a short duration treatment like a 6-hour ileitis vaccination or 8-hour medication, or wormer like anti-ascaris given over 8 hours only, you have to respect the good time and the good duration. Otherwise, if the treatment is too long, you have a problem of efficacy or stability if it's a vaccine. If it's too short, you're never sure that all the piglets have the right dose. Another problem is a stock solution here in the tank miscalculation, because this volume estimate is based on the water consumption of the piglets. Nowadays, more and more breeders have a water meter. Even some of them start having a connected water meter per room, because on this picture, you can see that in the post-weaning barn, many farms have a multi-piping system to medicate one room or two, and not all the barn, if not necessary. It's also a good way to reduce significantly the amount of antibiotic consumed. The solubility of the medicine is also a big problem. I think the main problem, according to me, my experience, because you have many oral powders in the stock solution which are not well mixed. And if the solubility is bad in this tank, even if you have a stirrer, which is better, you can have significant variation from the top to the bottom of the tank in terms of concentration. And if this concentration is not constant, you will have this variation at the drinkers. Furthermore, you have to take into account the drinking behavior of the piglets. And we know with different tests made by the Pig Institute, made by Dosatron, made by other pharma group, that the piglets drink from 2-3 minutes per day up to maybe 15 minutes per day, more or less. They can visit the drinker at random 1-2 times or more than 10 times a day. They can stay at each visit only 2-3 seconds up to 20-30 seconds. And we will never change this random behavior of the piglets. That's why we must be sure we have a good solubility and homogeneity in the tank. Then we don't have any variation at the drinkers during the whole treatment period. And that's why now the European Medicine Agency or the German DIN standard recommend to respect the homogeneity, to respect the dosing, to have no more than 10% variation at the drinker, whatever the flow, so the consumption of the animal, whatever the pressure changing in the pipe. All this is very important to avoid a failure in the treatment. Furthermore, we saw that at European level, the number 1, number 2, and number 3 antibiotic family are, if I remember well, penicillin, amoxicillin, tetracyclines, and TMP sulfamide. Unfortunately, these 3 family of antibiotic are often the less soluble. That's why also some pharmaceutical groups try to develop higher solubility galenic form of this medicine to avoid the failure in medication. This solubility problem will also lead to residue. So you will have powder residue in the piping, which can affect, for example, a vaccination, because the vaccine can be, I would say, damaged by the residue of antibiotics. And you can also have residue in the meat at slaughter, which is another problem. One way to avoid the solubility issue is to use a dosing pump with a high dosing, 4 or 5%, because the higher is the dosing rate, the more water you will have in the tank. So the better will be the solubility. That's why in Europe, most of the dosing pump have a capability to inject up to 4 or 5% of the water intake. Another potential problem is a poorly or no maintained or misadjusted dosing pump. We can find pump 10, 15, 20 years old, poorly maintained or sometimes never maintained, and never cleaned and flushed. It's easy, you just have to inject water, you put water in the tank, but some people forget about it. You can have also the problem of the incorrect pressure and flow rate settings of the drinkers. For the post-weaning, we recommend the bowl drinker to avoid the spillage. And when in the finishing you use traditional nipples, not a bowl nipple, the bite bowl nipple are much better because the pigs cannot play with the drinkers. So you can reduce the spillage down to 10 or 6%. Otherwise, it's not good condition for water medication. Then you can have drinkers priming errors because during the vaccination, the technician must prime all the drinker until he sees the blue color of the water, which is the blue dye we add to the vaccine. But when you have a big barn, you have so many nipples to prime, even if it's much easier and faster than injections, that the technician can sometimes forget some of the drinkers. With a SmartDosing, we monitor this volume. So if next time you vaccinate the same barn, you see the volume of priming is lower, you know that some drinkers were forgotten and some piglets will not be vaccinated. If the volume is bigger, you know you have a leak on the water system. Another mistake regarding the vaccination good practices is you have to respect 3 days before and after the vaccination without any antibiotics. So we have seen on the SmartLink software on the agenda of the treatment that you can in few seconds see that no antibiotic were given before and after. Then another very frequent mistake is the closed valve. So the technician forget to open the valve or open or close the wrong one here. The filter is clogged, so you have no water. We have alarm for all that. So the SmartDosing tell you a few minutes after that there is no water, you can come back and save your treatment or vaccine. We can detect overflow and leaks and accidental flushing. I remember one example of a pig breeder in France. We had an alarm of overflow, which was not possible. It was only 200 piglets. So, and in fact, we realized that the breeder were preparing the medication, but at the same time, the technician was doing a flushing of the pipe. So we are blaming nobody because up to now, everything is mechanical, visual, and manual. So it's impossible for the breeder or the technician to be in different places at the same time, and they have no smart farming, no recording, and no alarm. So that's why I'm sure the SmartDosing technology and project like PigLink will avoid 90-95% of the mistake we see sometime in the farms. We have just seen the potential reason explaining medication or vaccination failure. We will see now the consequences in terms of health or cost of this medication and vaccination failure. So we have on this slide an example given to Dosatron by the French Pig Institute. I would like to thank for this data. So the example is about a 300 sow farm producing 7,500 pigs per year. So the first case is an E. coli infection at post-weaning with a F4 or F18 E. coli strain. So the reason of the failure is, as mentioned before, or the pump poorly or never maintained, or a non-respect of the good practices. This situation can lead to a plus 1% mortality, costing up to 1.1 euro loss per pig. So this could correspond to up to 8,250 euro per year in losses. The second case is a Lawsonia ileitis infection at finishing. So maybe the situation comes also from a poor maintained pump or non-respect of good vaccination practices. And this situation will lead to a problem on the feed conversion ratio, the FCR, which can be worsened by 0.1 point. This will cost 3.2 euro loss per pig. So for the entire year, this can represent up to 24,000 euro per year in losses. And you have to add to this cost the cost of the vaccine doses lost for this vaccination. Let's conclude now with the key benefits of the SmartDosing technology and the SmartLink. So first, we will talk about the security, which was the first demand from the breeders, because nowadays most of the things are mechanical, visual, manual, and they don't have real reliable alarms when they medicate, vaccinate. The first alarm, or it's a warning, is the empty tank. So now you know when the tank is going to be finished to renew it in time
when you renew a medication several days, as we've seen before, or when you do 1 week of acidification with organic acid and you need to renew the tank several times. Another important alarm is a no water consumption, so the water supply problem in the farm, the valve closed accidentally, or the filter clogged. Then you can come back in time and save the vaccine, the medicine, because you know there is a problem. The pump motor stopped. We have a sensor in the motor, so we know if the motor has been stopped and some water were not treated, some part of the water was not treated. The treatment injection problem, which means that with the tank level monitoring, with the sensor we have, we know the level in the tank is not going down as it should. Then another alarm is the overflow, which can come from a water leak or an accidental flushing during treatments or vaccination. We've seen it once in France with the breeder started the medication and he didn't know the technician at the same time was starting the flushing of the drinking system. And then you have the preventive maintenance information and the pump diagnostic you can use before important treatments such as vaccine or antibiotic. Some other key benefits are related to the possibility of optimizing the treatment dosage, duration, and volumes, because usually the mistakes when we treat through the drinking water are the bad dosage, bad duration, and bad volume prepared in the stock solution tank. So thanks to the recording software, which is a step-by-step tutorial, you will always follow up the good practices. You can take advantage of the treatment and vaccination timing and volume history. So you can check what was the duration and the volume of the same type of treatment when you will run the same treatment next time for the same age. Then you can take advantage of the consumption test. It's useful, for example, before an ileitis vaccination, because you need to know what will be the consumption of the piglets over 6 hours. So you can set this functionality to record the day before the exact consumption, for example, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. over 6 hours. And then when you come for the vaccination, you know the exact volume of vaccine solution to prepare. This functionality can also be used for dose dependence medication over 8 or 12 hours, for example. And then last but not least, you can monitor the drinker priming before vaccination, as mentioned before, to avoid that some drinkers are not primed, and then the corresponding piglets will not be vaccinated, which is risky with such high-value treatment like ileitis vaccines. Another benefit is for the first time, the breeder has a real traceability and the possibility of analyzing all the past treatment in a few clicks, including everything, good practices, the disinfection of the pipe with the sanitation, the rinsing between 2 treatments, the duration of the vaccination. So most of it was not possible up to now. It was only visual and written in a book. So you have a live follow-up of the treatment when you start the recording every 2 minutes. So you see the consumption curves and many other data. And you can also check at any time the proper functioning of your dosing pump. Furthermore, in the SmartLink, you have a search engine, which is useful for comparison, for benchmark between different treatment, different batches. And you can print this result too and share it with your vet, for example. Let's finish with some time-saving aspect. So you will first save time and simplify your medication calculation. Thanks to the stock solution calculator based on posology and body weight, we have seen before this functionality, this calculator is in the SmartLink software on the barn PC. You can, as we've seen, come back and renew your treatment tank just in time, which was not possible nowadays. So sometimes the technician come back too early, the tank is not finished, but he's supposed to wait or come back later to renew the tank when the tank will really be finished. It's important for medication. And this is a problem in terms of labor and time lost. And of course, you will avoid all the paperwork, reporting,
using the SmartLink digital vaccination and treatment reports. These reports in the SmartLink can be shared, as we have seen, with your vet through a PDF or CSV file. On this slide, you can see 3 pictures for 3 SmartDosing installations per barn or per room. Let's start with the upper picture to the right. This SmartDosing is installed in the post-weaning barn. They have a panel with a multi-piping system to be able to medicate per room and not to medicate all the barn if not necessary, so you can save up to 90% antibiotics, with a valve set, water or water plus medicine. You have this water monitoring per room, which is wireless and connected to the barn PC. So the breeder knows the exact water consumption per hour and per room. This is very useful for preparation of precise medication or 6-hour vaccination. Furthermore, the water meters will help to see if there is no leaks or water consumption problem in every room. Beside this, you see the mixing tank with a stirrer. So the tank is big enough with a dosing pump and a dosage high enough to be sure we have enough water in the tank for a good overall powder solubility of the medicine. We have seen how important it is. This tank has also a special design to avoid any antibiotic residue at the end of the treatment. Let's move now to the left picture. Then you have 3 SmartDosing, 1 for each finishing rooms. So I think it was 1 SmartDosing for 800 pigs at finishing. And the latest picture down here, it's a new turnkey project, and they have installed this multi-piping and multi-water monitoring system for the maternity, for the post-weaning, and for the finishing. So the SmartDosing can also be used in post-weaning for ileitis vaccination. It can be sometime a vaccination at the finishing if it's the hemorrhagic form of the ileitis, if I remember well. But in both cases, you never use the traditional medication tank for the vaccine. You use a separated small tank. You don't need a stirrer because the lyophilized vaccine is very soluble. And this small tank will be used for vaccination only. Now I think it's time to conclude with an important question. Who is eligible and will take advantage of the SmartDosing technology? So first of all, of course, all the breeders who already administer several additives through the drinking water. So additives such as high-value vaccines, critical antibiotics, wormers, organic acids, anti-inflammatory, painkillers, trace elements, and many other feed additives through the drinking water. We can also mention breeders who want to secure and trace sensitive or high-cost treatments or vaccine. First of all, to prevent health issue if there is a medication or vaccination failure, with the corresponding financial losses they want to avoid. But also breeders who want to comply with the standards required by pig producers group they belong to. For example, some group needs antibiotic consumption reporting. And also breeders who are member of quality assurance scheme. Then I will finish with the breeders having a barn PC for technical and installation reason, because the SmartDosing need to be connected to the PC on which we will install the SmartLink software. Just remember that you can also connect the SmartDosing to the Maximus controller if you have such controller in the barn. For the one already having a SmartDosing, don't forget that the SmartDosing technology will also be compatible with the future PigLink project for data interoperability we have seen as an introduction of this webinar. So thank you all for your attention.
Okay, so this webinar comes to an end. I hope it was not too long. It's a very new technical topic, of course, between the PigLink project and the SmartDosing technology, which is still new on the market.
I hope this was interesting, and of course I will not be able to answer all questions now, otherwise it will be a bit too long and some of you are going to have lunch. But we will just try to answer a few questions. The rest of the question will be answered through Zoom writing to you, and the video will be available online later on, of course. So I see with my colleague Agathe what kind of question we have. So one of the first question is when will the PigLink project be available, operational? So I know through my colleagues from the French Pig Institute that it should be, the first phase should be ready next year in September or October. But of course, the first phase and the proof of concept should be finished. But that doesn't mean that the project will stop, of course. If you want any further information, you can contact the project manager at the French Pig Institute. Her name is Mrs. Alexia Aubry. She will be pleased to answer you, of course. Okay, let's see another question. This is more about the SmartDosing. So the question is the SmartDosing compatible or available with different Dosatron dosing pump type? For the moment, no, for one main reason. The people investing in SmartDosing are people who want to secure, to respect good practices, to have automatic reporting. And when it's a matter of good practices, the only pump on the market should be pump dosing up to 4 or 5% for the oral solubility problem we have mentioned before of oral powders. So that's why the model you see on the picture, the Dosatron model, is the last generation of dosing pump called D25 Care AL animal line 5%, because we don't want to promote the very low dosing pump going only to 2% when people are using oral powders, and not only antibiotics, but some wormers, some vitamin can have solubility issue. So that's why the SmartDosing version for the moment is available only on this last generation, D25AL 5%. Okay, last question, because we don't want to take too much of your time, is will the PigLink project be compatible or open to any other connected equipment or software? Yes, of course. That's why maybe this project is sponsored by Europe too, and the French Pig Institute is working for the breeders and the pig groups. And when we met some of them, like my friends from pharmaceutical group with injectors and so on, we know they want something open. They want any equipment and software to be able one day to be compatible with this PigLink Hub project. So as long as this equipment and software are compatible with the PigLink standard, I mean the API web interface, which is something they can always do. It's a computer work. They can enter the game, enter the project, of course, later on. So for the moment, we are a consortium of companies, different technological bricks, the connected injectors, the connected scales and feeders, the connected pump. But of course, the system will keep being open in the future. So that's very important for the breeders and the pig groups. Okay, so this webinar will come to an end now. I will do my best to answer your other questions. And we will send you the link to get the video for those of you who could not be there in time or who had to leave before the end. Thank you very much for your time and have a nice day.